Hey, what is up, you guys? It is Dr. Kathleen Nash, and welcome to the second installment of the speakers that were in the RFK symposium on the floor of the US Senate on September 23rd, about a week ago. We're going to look at we're kind of out of order. I'm not doing the speakers in order. There are some that I think are really, really relevant that I really want to make sure that I get to before some others. Doesn't mean that they all didn't have wonderful things to say, but there are some things that I think are just very, very important that we want to bring to the forefront. Today, we are going to listen to Dr. Casey Means. Senator Johnson's going to head and explain her credentials and why she is speaking. But I think that since she was one of the people that helped hosted it, plus she's bringing a lot of attention to the metabolic space in terms of our health and how it's deteriorating, I thought she would be a great one for installment number 2. So let's go ahead and hear what they have to say.
For this event with her book, Good Energy, her interview with Tucker that I saw that inspired me. I'm going to change my habits. But Dr. Casey Means is a medical doctor, New York Times bestselling author, tech entrepreneur, levels aspiring regenerative gardener, and an outdoor enthusiast. While training as a surgeon, she saw how broken and exploitative the healthcare system is and led to focus on how to keep people out of the operating room. And again, I would highly recommend everybody read Good Energy. It's a personal story, and you will be glad you did. Dr. Means.
Yeah, highly agree. So again, I'm going to go ahead and link that book. It'll be an Amazon link down in the description. You could also check it out on audiobook, like, Audible or something like that. Highly recommend picking up that book and giving it a listen.
Thank you, Senator Johnson. Thank you. As a physician, the message I'm here to share, and at this point, echo. Is that okay?
No, I was going to say, Doctor, I'm just pointing to Dr. Palm. He's next.
The message I'm here to share and reiterate is that American health is getting destroyed. It's being destroyed because of chronic illness. And if the current trends continue, if the graphs continue in the way that they're going, at best, we're going to face profound societal instability and decreased American competitiveness. And at worst, we're going to be looking at a genocidal level health collapse in our country and the world. Over the last 50 years in the United States, we have seen rapidly rising rates of chronic illnesses.
Now, wait till you hear the list of everything that she reads off. So she's about to read a whole list of chronic illness that is either potentially going sideways or up. So listen, if you're somebody that you think you're having a hard time losing weight, you're having these chronic illnesses, you're on medication, maybe you've been on medication for a long time, maybe the dosages of the medication is only getting worse. Listen to the things that she lists off and see if that sounds relevant to you.
Throughout the entire body, the body and the brain, infertility, obesity, type 2 diabetes and prediabetes, Alzheimer's, dementia, cancer, heart disease, stroke, autoimmune disease, migraines, mental illness, chronic pain, fatigue, congenital abnormalities, chronic liver disease, autism, and infant and maternal mortality, all going up.
All of those are metabolic disease. They are chronic disease, and they are all metabolic in nature. Let's listen to the list again, shall we? Hold on. Let's listen to that list again, because that was fun.
Fatigue, congenital abnormalities.
Oh, wait, nope. The list is so darn long, I didn't go back far enough.
Cancer, heart disease, stroke.
Good God.
Entire body, the body and the brain, infertility, obesity, type 2 diabetes and prediabetes, Alzheimer's, dementia, cancer, heart disease, stroke, autoimmune disease, migraines, mental illness, chronic pain, fatigue, congenital abnormalities, chronic liver disease, autism, and infant and maternal mortality, all going up. Americans live 8 fewer years compared to people in Japan or Switzerland, and life expectancy is going down. I took an oath to do no harm, but listen to these stats. We're not only doing harm, we're flagrantly allowing harm.
We are being complicit, or our lawmakers, big industries like traditional medicine, like the pharmaceutical industry, complicit. Not just allowing it, complicit.
While it sounds grim, there is very good news. We know why all of these diseases are going up, and we know how to fix it.
That's absolutely true. All of these industries that we just listed, they know how to turn this all around, turn it all around very, very quickly. A lot of doctors know how to do it, right? A lot of people in the diet space know how to do it. The only one that seems to be out of the loop in how to do it is the American citizen, the American public. They don't seem to have I'm trying really hard not to swear, they don't have a clue because they're being conditioned to feel helpless about their situation and to rely on these industries for management, not reversal.
Every disease I mentioned is caused by or worsened by metabolic dysfunction, a word that it is thrilling to hear being used around this table.
Yeah, I think 10 or 15 years ago, we didn't hear the word metabolic anything or metabolism anything. And even to this day, in the current year, 2024, a lot of people cannot adequately define what metabolism is or what metabolic is. She's about to do it so that you know, but it's important because it's this underlying factor in all of these chronic lifestyle diseases.
Metabolic dysfunction is a fundamental distortion of our cellular biology. It stops our cells from making energy appropriately.
So it's a base level, fundamental, right? Base level dysfunction in how our cells, the 100 trillion cells of our body, use energy, whether that's bringing energy in and breaking it down and storing it, using it at the moment, or using it in the future. Cellular level dysfunction, mitochondrial level dysfunction, which you might not know what mitochondria are, but it's like a piece of the cell that's responsible for energy production, right? On that subcellular level dysfunction, that's metabolism.
According to the American College of Cardiology, metabolic dysfunction now affects 93.2% of American adults.
American College of Cardiology. So this is not just some asshat on the internet making up a stat. This is a clinical scientific body stating that over 93% of the American public now struggles with some kind of metabolic dysfunction. So all that laundry list of things that she said that are going up, that are all metabolically related, yeah, 93% of us have the dysfunction in our cells that can drive all those conditions. Great.
This is quite literally the cellular draining of our life force. This process is the result of three processes happening inside our cells: mitochondrial dysfunction, a process called oxidative stress, which is like a wildfire inside our cells, and chronic inflammation throughout the body and the gut, as we've heard about.
Chronic inflammation is the medical term for fire. So not only do you have oxidative stress, which is like a wildfire in the cells, but then you have chronic inflammation, which is like a low-grade fire that's spreading throughout the body and attacking its systems.
Metabolic dysfunction is largely not a genetic issue. It's
10% or less.
Caused by toxic American ultra-processed industrial food. Metabolic dysfunction is largely not a genetic issue.
So blaming your genes, blaming your family. Well, my mom had it, my dad had it. Doesn't matter. That ain't it. That ain't it, sis.
It's caused by toxic American ultra-processed industrial food, toxic American chemicals, toxic American medications, and our toxic sedentary indoor lifestyles. You would think that the American healthcare system and our government agencies would be clamoring to fix metabolic health and reduce American suffering and costs.
Nope.
But they're not. They are deafeningly silent.
And it's because there's no money in getting you healthy. There's no money if you are a healthy individual, you're mentally healthy, you're physically healthy, you're normal weight, you're strong, you're smart, you're a critical thinker. Yeah. No. We don't want anything like that. We want you fat, sick, and dependent and constantly coming back to us and paying us money. We want to be in power, not you. We want to be in charge, not you. We're not about to tell you how to correct yourself and that it can be done easily and inexpensively. No. You need our products, you need our goods, you need our services.
About metabolic dysfunction and its known causes.
Let's back that up.
They are deafeningly silent about metabolic dysfunction and its known causes. It's not an overstatement to say that I learned virtually nothing at Stanford Medical School about the tens of thousands of scientific papers that elucidate these root causes of why American health is plummeting and how environmental factors are causing it.
So we're going to stop there for a second because this one was really, really important to me. A lot of times when I study metabolic health, or maybe I'm watching a video about nutrition or a video about how to correct weight or diabetes or chronic inflammation or fatty liver from a nutritional standpoint, invariably, there is going to be a certain section in the comments that's going to clap back by saying, how dare anybody other than a doctor give any kind of nutritional advice or diet advice, or you have no right to do that because you are not a medical doctor, so what the hell do you know? Well, guess what? Medical doctors know shit about nutrition. Medical doctors know nothing about how to take nutrition and apply it to a metabolic condition to reduce or reverse it. All they are taught, specifically by their medical schools, is how to manage it, whether they're going to manage it with medication or they're going to manage it through surgical procedure. They are not taught nutrition. So that is an ineffective argument to make when people offer nutritional advice. Well, you're not a doctor. That's a badge of honor at this point. You understand? Badge of honor that you're not a medical doctor giving nutritional advice because they don't know what they're doing.
For instance, in medical school, I did not learn that for each additional serving of ultra-processed food we eat, early mortality increases by 18%. That's now
weeks and months off your life every time you eat ultra-processed food. Or the phrase I like to use, ultra-processed food is a great term. Weaponized edible product, even better term. Weaponized edible product. It is not food. It is a product that you can swallow, and it is being used against you to facilitate monetary or power gains to another industry. It's weaponized.
Makes up 67% of the foods our kids are eating. I took 0 nutrition courses.
At least me as a chiropractor, I had a whole 2 nutrition courses during my chiropractic learning experience, right? 5 years I had in chiropractic college. I had 2 nutrition courses and they were a complete joke, but at least I had 2. She didn't have any, and she went to Stanford Medical School.
In medical school, I didn't learn.
I'm going to back that up.
This now makes up 67% of the foods our kids are eating. I took 0 nutrition courses in medical school. I didn't learn that 82% of independently funded studies show harm from processed food, while 93% of industry-sponsored studies reflect no harm.
So let's talk about that for a second. Please understand what she's saying. If the clinical research is being funded by the industry, they don't find anything harmful. But if it's an independent study, 93% of the researchers find harm with ultra-processed food, with weaponized edible product, right? That's important. That means there's a conflict of interest. That means that the scientist is serving the industry to get the outcome that the industry wants. Because if you watched the last video that I did with Bobby Kennedy Jr., he talked about how they can get like $150,000 a year. The scientist can get like $150,000 a year by creating a study that confirms that the pharmaceutical is the right thing to do.
I learned that 95% of the people who created the recent USDA food guidelines for America had significant conflicts of interest with the food industry. I did not learn that 1 billion pounds of synthetic pesticides are being sprayed on our food every single year. 99% of the farmland in the United States is sprayed with synthetic pesticides, many from China and Germany. And these invisible, tasteless chemicals are strongly linked to autism, ADHD, sex hormone disruption, thyroid disease, sperm dysfunction, Alzheimer's, dementia, birth defects, cancer, obesity, liver dysfunction, female infertility, and more, all by hurting our metabolic health. I did not learn that the 8 billion tons of plastic that have been produced just in the last 100 years, plastic was only invented about 100 years ago, are being broken down into microplastics that are now filling our food, our water, and we are now even inhaling them in our air. And that very recent research from just the past couple of months tells us that now about 0.5% of our brains by weight are now plastic.
That's gross.
I didn't learn that there are more than 80,000 toxins that have entered our food, water, air, and homes by
That's interesting because I remember giving health talks when I first learned about metabolic health, when I first changed my body. This was back in like 2013. I remember in the talk that I would have with people, I would bring up that there are 80,000 different kinds of toxins that are hitting different parts of our world, water, air, through the skin. So it's interesting. That's an 8-year-old stat, or low, it's an 11-year-old stat.
Industry, many of which are banned in Europe, and they are known to alter our gene expression, alter our microbiome composition and the lining of our gut, and disrupt our hormones. I didn't learn that heavy metals like aluminum and lead are present in our food, our baby formula, personal care products, our soil, and many of the mandated medications like vaccines, and that these metals are neurotoxic and inflammatory.
Now, it's interesting. I just had a client today, somebody that signed up with me, right? She works for a naturopath, knows that she has mercury poisoning and lead poisoning. She felt that the mercury poisoning was probably coming from her fillings. Couldn't figure out for the world, like, where the heck is the lead poisoning coming from? Well, here you go.
I didn't learn that the average American walks a paltry 3,500 steps per day, even though we know, based on science and top journals, that simply walking 7,000 steps a day slashes by 40 to 60% our risk of Alzheimer's, dementia, type 2 diabetes, cancer, and obesity.
Just 7,000 steps a day slashes all those by almost half. That's wild.
I certainly did not learn that medical error and medications are the third leading cause of death in the United States.
Medications, third leading cause of death. Woohoo!
I didn't learn that just 5 nights of sleep deprivation can induce full-blown prediabetes. I learned nothing about sleep, and we're getting about 20% less sleep on average than we were 100 years ago. I didn't learn that American children are getting less time outdoors now than a maximum security prisoner. And on average, adults spend 93% of their time indoors, even though we know from the science that separation from sunlight destroys our circadian biology, and circadian biology dictates our cellular biology. I didn't learn that professional organizations that we get our practice guideline from, like the American Diabetes Association and American Academy of Pediatrics, have taken tens of millions of dollars from Coke, Cadbury, processed food companies, and vaccine manufacturers like Moderna.
That's crazy. These are the people that are writing the guidelines that the medical doctors have to adhere to, and they're being funded by big food and big pharma.
I didn't learn that if we address these root causes that all lead to metabolic dysfunction and help patients change their food and lifestyle patterns with united, strong voice, we could reverse the chronic disease crisis in America, save millions of lives and trillions of dollars in healthcare costs per year.
I mean, think about that. Just by simply focusing on a change in food and a change in lifestyle, not manage it with medications that you have to be on for the rest of your life and shorten your lifespan and decrease quality of life. Reverse these conditions simply by changing food and lifestyle habits. Easy switches. And when you start making these switches, the body actually responds and becomes vibrant and cooperates with you. So a lot of times people think that when I make these switches, it's going to be an uphill battle for the rest of my life. It isn't. As your body's biology change and its metabolic function improves, the body actually starts working with you, not against you.
Instead, doctors are learning that the body is 100 separate parts, and we learn how to drug, we learn how to cut, and we learn how to bill.
Think about it. If you're somebody that has several conditions and maybe you have multiple doctors that are regulating those conditions, do they honestly talk to each other, or is it a chore? Most of the time, the conditions are so siloed out, they're so partitioned out to individual specialists that they're not talking to each other. They have no idea what the other doctor is doing.
I'll close by saying that what we are dealing with here is so much more than a physical health crisis. This is a spiritual crisis. We
are at war. We are at spiritual war. Yeah, we are.
We are choosing death over light. We are choosing death over life. We are choosing darkness over light for people and the planet, which are inextricably linked. We are choosing to erroneously believe that we are separate from nature and that we can continue to poison nature and then outsmart it. Our path out will be a renewed respect for the miracle of life and a renewed respect for nature. We can restore health to Americans rapidly with smart policy and courageous leadership. We need a return to courage. We need a return to common sense and intuition. We need a return to awe for the sheer miraculousness of our lives. We need all hands on deck. Thank you.
And you can hear her actually, her voice breaking and breaking down at the end of it, right? And it's true, like the more you listen to this and you see just how much you have to work against, it's painful. But anyway, that is the second installment. Dr. Casey Means. Again, I will put the link to the full Health Summit down in my description box, as well as an Amazon link to Dr. Casey's book so that you can check that out. If you're enjoying these installments and learning something about what's actually going on and what's driving how fit you are, how healthy you are, the status of your metabolic health and what you can do about it, please like the video. Please share it if you can. Subscribe if you can. It really does help the channel and get the message out. And I will catch you guys in the next installment. Talk to you soon.